Good morning. I'm Dr. Alice Mani. I'm here this morning with the module 2 of income tax, where I will explain the basic concepts of income tax. What is an assessment year? What is a previous year? What is a person? Who is an SSC? What is income? All these details. So, last module I told you the basic concepts I am introducing with the two modules. One module I have already introduced, and this is the second module. So I'll explain the second module of income tax. Module 2, where I will explain the basic concepts. So we will see who is a person. So last module also I told you, person is defined as per section 2 subsection 31 of the Income Tax Act. So a person can be an individual. Just like anybody else, an individual can be a person. Second one you have to remember, Hindu undivided family. So Hindu undivided family, whatever income they receive from Hindu undivided family, it will be exempted. So we have learned that in section 10. So this is a recollection. A Hindu undivided family is also considered as a person. Next is a company. Whether it's company registered in India or a company registered in a foreign country. See, for example, Infosys, Wipro, Keytex, Hindustan Unilever Limited. Anything can be an HAL, BEL, BHEL. Any company can be an SSC for a income tax purpose. Next one is a partnership firm. So this also I want to tell you that share of income from partnership is exempted under section 10 of the Income Tax Act. So partnership is also an individual. Next is association of persons or body of individuals, whether incorporated or not. So I want to give you an example. See, this lockdown period, my cousin and two of her friends joined together and they are running a NGO now. Just for the lockdown period, they formed that. They came to know about the need of the time, and what they have decided is they are going to distribute tabs and laptops for high school children, those who cannot afford to buy a laptop or a tab and they cannot attend the online classes. So here the problem is, see, nobody has told them about this. This need was not there before. But what they are doing is they are trying their level best to help the people in time of need. They are not registered, but still they are doing that. And I know that from my personal experience. Since I work for orphanages, I know that many people are getting the benefit. So that is the advantage. And those, their single parents, their parents are cook or gardener or manual laborers, those who are working for daily wages, they don't have any wages or salary. So their children will be deprived of education, the right to education, just by not having a laptop or a tab. So now they are providing that. So it can also be an individual for income tax purpose. If they are collecting any donation, if they are making any, if they are making any income out of that activity, so then that will be considered as an individual. So it's an association of persons or body of individuals. I told you 2-3 people joined together and they're doing that. So it's not registered, and they're saying that if it's successful, they will register and they will continue their activities in future. Then a local authority. Local authority meaning it can be a panchayat, it can be a municipality, it can be a corporation, it can be a state, anything like that. Since I live in Bangalore, I want to use the example of Bangalore Development Authority. So Bangalore Development Authority, they sell property, they sell plots, they sell flats. They give it on rent for they give it rent on rent. Flats they give it on rent. Then commercial buildings they have. So they have lot of income. So Bangalore Development Authority will be considered as an individual for the income tax purpose. Next is every artificial judicial person. Whoever incorporated, whatever they are doing any activity, any NGO, any old age home, any orphanage, any charitable institution, anything formed for the purpose of doing any activity or any trust, anything like that, it can be an individual for income tax purpose. Now we are coming to the second point. The second point is the term SSC. It is given under section, it is defined under section 2, subsection 7. So here you have to remember SSC means a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under the Income Tax Act. So this definition for SSC is very, very important. You have to remember that this you can expect as a section A question. So you have to write what is the definition and you have to quote the section also. See, I told you wherever I am quoting the section, that section is important for your examination purpose. So this SSC, you have to remember that it's defined under section 2 subsection 7. So means a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under the Income Tax Act. We have seen that individuals pay tax, companies pay tax, NGOs pay tax, all this, HUF, partnership. So whoever has to pay tax to the income tax department, it's called as an SSC. So the spelling also, you have to remember that this is a new term you are learning. So this SSC, the spelling also you have to remember that. Last module I have explained that when I'll take a face-to-face class, when I'll tell them about SSC, they will get scared. So nothing to worry about that. SSC meaning the person who is paying tax. Next thing what I am going to explain is also important for the purpose of examination. Either you will get one question, explain the types of SSC, or individually they will ask what are the types of SSC. They can name that and they can say that. So here you have to remember SSCs are divided into 4. One is an ordinary SSC. Second one is person against whom proceedings initiated. Third one, deemed or representative SSC. Fourth is SSC in default. So here you have to remember that ordinary SSC meaning there is no problem at all. They are not creating any problem with the income tax department. Most of the 95%, 98% of the population will be like that. They don't want to play with income tax department. They don't want to create any problem with income tax department. So people like you and me, when we'll get an income, we will file the returns and we will be transparent in our dealings with the income tax department. So that is the first category. Everyone, most of the people will come in this category. Second one is person against whom proceedings are initiated. See, for example, in this category, they have not filed the tax. Sometimes they may become bankrupt. They don't have any money. So they have any health reasons. They have the lockdown going on. They stop the activities due to lockdown. COVID-19 pandemic has affected the industry totally. So any reason. So what they will do, first income tax department, they will intimate you that you have to pay the tax. But still you are not able to pay the tax. So what they will do? They will take action against the people. So this is the person against whom proceedings are initiated. So one example is Anil Ambani. You know that in this case, he has declared himself as a bankrupt. So he is not able to make the payment to the income tax department. Banks are taking action against him. So now what he is doing is, they have taken action against him. Now he has declared himself as a bankrupt. Now the law has to take the action. What they are going to do with that? Third one is deemed or representative SSC. In this case, you are not the SSC, but you are paying income tax on behalf of somebody else. I will give you an example. My sister is living in UK. So far as my father was alive, she used to give a power of attorney to my father to pay her tax on time because she got investments in India and in Kerala. So she is living in UK. So she will not be able to pay the tax when the time for paying the tax. She is living in a foreign country. So what she will do? She will request somebody whom she will trust through power of attorney to pay her taxes on time. So this is the idea of deemed or representative SSC. So after my father's death, now my brother is getting the power of attorney and he is representing my sister as the deemed or representative SSC. So you have to remember that when my father or my brother is paying the tax for my sister, they are not paying for themselves. They are representing somebody else in their tax payments. That meaning they are representing my sister in their tax payments. Next one is SSC in default. See, SSC in default is the last category. That meaning they will take action against a person and then you have to remember that they have not cooperated with they have not showing any cooperation with the income tax department. This may be the person, this we can take the case of Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, all these cases. So here action is taken against the income tax department, but they have escaped from the country. You know that they have to pay to the banks also. Many banks, they have to pay huge sum of money. So they defaulted the payment with the bank and they escaped from the country. So income tax department also has taken action against these people. So they are called SSC in default. Income tax department has taken action against them. They have not cooperated with the income tax department, and they are the people assessee in default. So the next is, what is an assessment year? I told you this assessment year is very, very important. You have to remember that assessment year means the period of 12 months commencing on the first day of April every year. So assessment year is also an important question for section A, and you have to remember subsection also for this, that is section 2 subsection 9 of the Income Tax Act. If you are writing the answer, you have to quote the section also to get the maximum marks. So assessment year meaning, you have to remember that it's the financial year. So current assessment year is April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. So this is the thing, April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. So this is the present financial year now we are. We are in June 2020. So I have to remember, it is starting every financial year. It's starting from April 1st and ending on March 31st. So April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021 is the current assessment year. You will learn this. When you will start with 2-3 classes, you will automatically learn that. You will remember. It will register in your brain what is assessment year. Next is previous year. It is section 2, subsection 34. This also is important. Previous year, you have to remember the section. Section 2, subsection 34 of the Income Tax Act is defining the previous year. That is, the year in which income is earned is called the previous year. So here you have to remember, year in which income is earned is called the previous year. So that means, I told you, assessment year, previous year, everything we are calculating based on the financial year. So previous year is the last financial year. So that is, the current previous year is starting from April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2020. So you have to remember that it's just like financial year. Every financial year, the last financial year will be your last previous year. Running financial year will be your assessment year. So usual rule is that income of the previous year is taxed in the relevant assessment year. But there are certain exceptions to this rule. You have to remember, if I am earning whatever income I earned during my last financial year, I am paying tax in this financial year. So that is the rule. Income of the previous year is taxed in the relevant assessment year. So that is the thing you have to remember. This is the usual practice, but there are certain exceptions to this rule that you will see in the next slide. Exceptions to the rule of taxing the income in the previous year. So first one is income of a non-resident from a shipping company. So you know that non-resident shipping company, they may come to India for some business. Maybe they may be there for few days, few months, few weeks. So the problem is that once they leave India, if you want to collect income tax from a foreign company or a foreign shipping company, it is not possible. They are not coming within the rules and regulations of our country. So what we will do, we will collect the tax whenever they will earn an income in our country. So that is the thing you have to remember. See, for example, if a shipping company registered in Dubai, what they will do, if they will come to India, to a port in Cochin, Vizag or Chennai or anywhere, what they will do, whenever they will earn income, there itself, they will collect the tax. So they cannot wait for the tax payment. That will come in the next financial year. Then the company ship may not be there, or the company itself is registered in a foreign country. So if you have problems collecting the tax and all, and it will affect the bilateral relations between the two countries and all. So we cannot take any legal action. So what we will do, we will collect the tax then and there itself. Next is income of a person leaving India either permanently or for a long period of time. I told you I live in Bangalore. So I know that many IT people, sometimes they may leave the country for 3 years or 5 years. What they will do, 3 years or 5 years, they will go to a foreign country. Sometimes they may go there as a permanent residence. So what they will do, they have to leave the country. They have to clear all the tax payments, all the payments due to the country, and they have to get the clearance from different authorities. So in this case also, if he is going for 3 years or 5 years or for a long period of time, or either permanently to live in a foreign country, US, UK, Ireland, Canada, anywhere. So they will get the clearance. They have to get the clearance from the income tax department. So what they will do? They will go to the income tax department and they will they will pay the tax, whatever is due. They will not wait for the assessment year. Whatever, they have to leave. So whatever tax is due to the income tax department, they will pay that and they will leave the country. Next is income of a person trying to destroy his assets with a view to avoid tax. See, for example, in the case of a person, he's a drunkard or a psychiatrist, or he has a feeling that his children are not looking after him. So what he will do, he's completely disappointed, or his business has become a big failure. See, in the case of Anil Ambani, he has declared himself as a bankrupt. So I was reading newspaper reports saying that, but he has got lot of buildings. He lives in a palatial bungalow in Mumbai. So that property itself, if they will sell, income tax department can collect some money, whichever is due to them. So what they will do, if they'll come to know that Anil Ambani is going to transfer that house property to some of his family members or close relatives or close friends or anybody else like that, then immediately they will take action. They will collect the tax due from the person. So this is one thing. Now continuing with that, income of a discontinued business. Income of a discontinued business meaning, now we can take any number of examples. When I'll go out, I can see that most of the business, small time business, they have discontinued. They don't have any activities. Lockdown in the country for 70 days. Many businesses were affected. So now what they're doing is they're discontinuing the business activities. So they have to, whatever is tax due to them, they have to go to the income tax department and they have to pay the tax because they are not going to continue with the business activities. Inform the income tax department to avoid the future consequences. Next is income of business formed for a short duration. See, this is also quite possible. Sometimes a partnership is formed for short duration, maybe for construction of a flyover, a metro station, an overbridge, anything like that, small construction, or just for a building they formed a partnership. So it's for a short duration. At the time of registration itself, they will mention that it's not going to continue in future. They are going to close down the business activities after completing this project. So when they'll complete the project, if it's not the time of filing the tax returns, what they will do? They will file that whatever is tax due to the income tax department, they will pay the tax. Next is income of a newly set up business or profession or a newly created source of income. See, in the case of any startup initiative, now in the lockdown period, some people are coming out with making PPT kit, all the COVID kit and all they are making, and they are starting on a small scale. So if they are running only for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, any for a short period of time also, it's a newly set up business. So if they are making any income, they have to pay the tax. Or profession also same thing, maybe an architect or a lawyer or a doctor or a consultant they are starting that and they are running it for 2-3 months. At the time of filing the returns, they can pay the tax, or immediately if they are not going to continue. A newly created source of income, if it's reported to the income tax department, they will collect the tax. They will not wait for the assessment year. In the previous year itself, they will collect the tax. Next is what is income? That is defined in section 2 subsection 24 of the Income Tax Act. So here also list some items of income. You can expect a question. So this you have to remember, income under section 2 subsection 24. One is profits and gains. Profit, you know that a business is making profit. They are doing some business activity, they are making some profit. A gain I have mentioned. Gain, it can be a capital gain. You purchased a capital asset. See, for example, I bought a flat in 2000 for 5 lakhs. I am selling it in 2010 for 25 lakhs. So 20 lakhs is my gain. So any profit or gain can be an income. Next is dividend. Last module we have seen that dividend from an Indian company is exempted, but dividend from a foreign company will be taxable. So dividend will be taxable if you are receiving dividend from a foreign company. Next is voluntary donations by trust or associations. I told you the NGOs, old age homes, palliative care. How they work. They collect donations from people or through companies CSR, and that is how they will function. They don't have any income of their own. So that is also an income for income tax purpose. When they are collecting income, when they are collecting donations from people, they have to disclose to the income tax authorities how much they collected, how much they had spent. They have to be transparent with the income tax department for their transactions. Now allowances. Allowances you are going to learn in detail in salary chapter. Different types of allowances. Uniform allowance for people working in police department. Everybody will get dearness allowance. Dearness allowance, you know that it's the cost of living to meet the cost of living expenses. Government is giving along with the salary component, they are giving dearness allowance. See, whenever I'll read the newspaper, sometimes I'll see that central government DA, dearness allowance is increased by 3%. So immediately central government employees will get the increase. Whereas in the case of state government employees, after 3-4 months it will get implemented. So dearness allowance will be one. Then city compensatory allowance. City compensatory allowance, that meaning if you're living in a city, the cost of living expenses will be more. So what you will do, city, if you're working in city, you are eligible to get the city compensatory allowance. But if I'm working in Tumkur, I'm not eligible to get because it's a rural area. Since I live in Bangalore and I work in Bangalore, I will get city compensatory allowance. Now capital gain, already I've explained, capital gain is related to a capital asset. Capital asset meaning you're buying that item for a long-term use. It can be a vehicle, it can be house property, it can be land, it can be an antique jewelry, it can be a rare painting, anything like that. So you bought that, after a few years you're selling that, then you're getting a profit. So that is the capital gain. Next is casual gain. Casual gain meaning it can be a lottery. Say I went to Dubai, I won a Dubai lottery. So it's a casual gain for me. I'm not going to get it every now and then. Once in my lifetime only I'll get a lottery. So that is the casual gain. Continuing with that, Keyman insurance policy. See, this Keyman insurance policy, you might have learned in insurance also. This is an important concept in insurance also. What is Keyman insurance policy? I can remember the question for insurance. So here, Keyman insurance policy meaning organizations will collect income, will take insurance policy for important people of the organization. May, for example, Asim Premji for Wipro or Rishabh Premji for Wipro. Sudha Murthy for Infosys, Narayan Murthy for Infosys, all this, Nandan Nilekani for Infosys. So these top people who are working for the organization, their contributions are highly valued by the organization. They will take special insurance policy. You know the famous film actors, actresses, important sports personalities, all there. Inch by inch, part by part, their body is insured for a huge amount. If something happens to them, then they have to pay they will get huge insurance cover. So this also will be an income for if an organization is getting that or an individual is getting that, it will be considered as an income. Next, money or property received without consideration. That meaning gift. See, if I am getting a gift from my mother. Last module, I have explained that any gift received up to rupees 50,000 is exempted from income tax. So if I am getting a gift of 5 lakhs this year from my mother, so 50,000 will be exempted. Another 4,50,000 will be taxable. So that is the any gift up to 50,000. At present, the Gift Tax Act says that up to 50,000 it is exempted now, and more than 50,000 if I am getting, it will be taxable. Now perquisites by employee. Perquisites meaning, you remember the term perk in Cadbury. See, perk means the advertisement itself, you can remember that, something to motivate the employees. See, perquisites meaning in addition to the salary what you are getting, based on the position, you are getting certain privileges. Say, for example, I told you, car, if you are a minister, prime minister, if a president, ministers, central ministers, state ministers, MLAs, MPs, or top officials, IAS, IPS, IFS and all, they will get so many perquisites. Uniform, they will get bungalow, they will get official car, they will get petrol, diesel, cook, gardener, all these amenities. These are all called perquisites by employee. These are considered as income. See, last module I told you, certain incomes we are getting as income. Salary is an example. We are getting as income. Dearness allowance is an example. City compensatory allowance is an example. We are getting as cash itself. Whereas this perquisites, if I am getting an official car for my official purpose and personal purpose, it's a income in kind. So in salary chapter, you will learn how these perquisites can be converted into cash. So that also will be included in your income. So not the full value, but there are certain guidelines for valuing that. This you are going to learn that in detail in salary chapter. So you have to remember that. It's very important. You have to remember perquisites are also taxable. Not the full value. A certain amount will be added to your salary component. Then any profit on sale. If you're making any profit on sale, that meaning, say I got some antique jewelry, I am in need of money, I am selling that. That meaning I'm making some profit. That also will be an income. It can be a rare hand needlework or anything like that. It can be an income. Now, what is gross total income? This is very, very important. These are the five sections, five different heads of income you are going to learn in this chapter, income tax. If you learn these chapters, then the major portion of the calculation you have completed. So, income of or gross total income of an SSC is divided into five heads. One is income from salary. Second is income from house property. Third is income from business or profession. Next is income from capital gain. Next is income from other sources. So here you have to remember income from salary, meaning if I am getting an income from salary, that you have to learn this in detail. Their employer-employer relationship should be there. When I am getting my monthly salary, it will be included in this head of income. Next one is income from house property. See, if I got a second house property, which I am giving it on rent. So here I have to remember that I will get some rental income. So that and my self-occupied house property where I am living will be included in the income from house property. Income from business or profession. See, if I am running a business unit, I am doing online saree business, I'll get some profit out of that. So that will be included in income from business or profession. Next is income from capital gain. I've already explained how we are getting capital gain by selling a capital asset. Either it can be building, vehicle or anything like that. Then you will get some capital gain. So that is the concept of capital gain. That will be included in the capital gains chapter. Next is income from other sources. See, if what income I am getting is, if I am getting royalty, it cannot be included in salary because employer-employer relationship is not there between me and my publisher. It is not house property income. It's not business income. It's not a capital gain. So any income which cannot be included in the four heads of income like salary, house property, business or profession or income from capital gain, it will be included in income from other sources. Bank interest, dividend received, royalty, lottery, casual gain, gift, everything will be included in income from other sources. So we are coming to the last heading of this module, that is total income. Total income also you have to remember that you have to learn the deductions from gross total income. So when you reduce the deductions allowed under Income Tax Act from gross total income, you will get the total income. So this total income only you are going to pay the tax. So gross total income, what is gross total income? We have learned in the previous slide. So what they are going to do? They are adding up all the heads of income and that will be the gross total income. Now you have to remember that certain deductions are allowed by the Income Tax Act. You don't have to pay the full tax because I told you already the feeling is there. People feel that some government is taking something compulsorily out of them when they are paying tax. So the Income Tax Department is giving certain provisions through which we can escape the tax payment. One such example is ATC deduction. That is most of the salaried people will use. Our children's education expenses, principal repayment for the housing loan, insurance payments, LIC payments, public provident fund payments, anything, some 10-12 items are there. So if you save all in all this category, what all you had spent up to 1,50,000, you can reduce from your income tax. You can reduce from your gross total income. Say for example, if imagine my gross total income is 15 lakhs. I have saved the maximum under section ATC, that is 1,50,000. So my total income is reduced to 15 lakhs minus 1,50,000. So it is 13 lakhs 50,000. Similarly, you will get sections for health insurance, ATD, repayment of educational loan. Then if you have a dependent handicapped person in the family or if you have a dependent child, then all these cases you will get some deductions. This you have to learn that as a separate chapter under deductions from gross total income. So when you get the total income, on the total income we will pay the tax. So these are the two modules I have explained so far. Basic concepts I have explained. So first module and the second module. Now as I told you, I am coming with the third module. That will be the residential status. That's very important for the purpose of examination. So you have to remember that residential status, I will explain the basic concepts then you have to remember that the problems also we are going to do with that. So you can learn with me how you will calculate the residential status. That will be divided into 3 modules. One I will explain the theory, then the other 2 modules we will be doing some problems. So thank you all for watching, and your feedback is very important. Please give me your feedback. Thank you.